So if you've been following the news, you know that the coronavirus scare is a pretty big thing in the Seattle area. And well, I actually live just one town over from that nursing home where like a bunch of people died from the coronavirus. I was actually just kind of thinking about how the different personality types are reacting to the coronavirus. And I don't really have a whole lot of like real life data. Like I don't know the MBTI types of most of the people that I know that are reacting to the coronavirus. So, everything I'm going to talk about here is just, is just all theoretical. And really the only things that I've observed so far have been like what I see on the news, what I see in social media, and the company where I work advising employees to work from home if they can. And of course, seeing the empty toilet paper and paper towel aisle at the supermarket. Okay, I want to talk about that first, okay? Because I went grocery shopping last Tuesday, and that was like the first time that I noticed that, it's like, it was like just right there staring me in the face. There's like these empty shelves where the toilet paper and paper towels would normally be. But other than that, and like a lot of the large plastic water jugs were gone. But those were the only things that I really noticed out of the ordinary. And then I started seeing like people on Facebook and posting, their pictures at like Costco running out of toilet paper and bottled water. So my first reaction to that was like, what the heck is the connection between the coronavirus and toilet paper? I actually asked that on Facebook. And really the only explanations I got were like, oh, it's in case we're forced to stay home for several weeks and running out of toilet paper would be a bad thing. Okay, that's true. It would be bad to run out of toilet paper, and yeah, there is the remote possibility that, some of us might be forced to stay home, if this thing gets really out of control, or if you yourself just happen to contract the COVID-19 disease. But that still doesn't explain why just toilet paper. Why not canned foods or batteries or band-aids or guns or knives or other apocalypse supplies? And some of the people that were engaging me in this discussion were saying, oh yeah, well yeah, I did buy some extra food, and I found that the Costco I went to was out of dried beans and rice or whatever. So then I realized I'm the TI user out of this whole group. I should figure this out myself. What it comes down to is a certain percentage of people decided just to take a few minor extra precautions and buy an extra pack of toilet paper, an extra pack of paper towels, some extra water, and some extra food supplies. Okay, they are just, they're not like going all doomsday mode. They're just buying a few extra things just in case they have to stay home for an extra week. Okay, that's pretty much all it is. Well, if you think about it, normally you don't buy toilet paper all the time. You use a lot of toilet paper, but you buy it in bulk. Whereas you need food all the time. So you're constantly going, every time you go to make a grocery shopping trip, you're buying food. And the supermarket is full of food. 90% of the store is food, different kinds of food, and people eat different kinds of food. Whereas, toilet paper is just like half of one aisle. And so, a bunch of people are saying like, I'll just buy an extra pack of toilet paper, more so than, any ordinary, any non-virus outbreak week. That store is going to run out of toilet paper really fast. People are still, people are still buying food, but the food is scattered throughout the whole store, so it's not as noticeable. So that's really what it is. It took my TI to figure that out on my own after my initial confusion and everyone else's lack of satisfying explanation. So that's that. And as for my approach to dealing with this coronavirus threat, well, basically, I haven't really done anything different than how I normally would on any given week. I'm already fairly decent at keeping up good hygiene. I wash my hands before every meal and after touching dirty stuff. I mean, I guess maybe I'm washing my hands more often than I normally would, only because I've been more conscious of it. Just because this whole threat is hard to ignore. But I would guess that ISTPs are probably among the least worried types when it comes to the coronavirus threat. Now, in a sense, that might be a disadvantage of extroverted sensing in this case. Because I can't detect a virus with my senses. You can't see it or hear it or smell it. You know, yeah, I know the only time I would detect the virus is when I actually get infected by it and get sick. And that's several days after I first contracted the virus. I see a doorknob, all I see is a doorknob. I'm not seeing a virus. A person shakes my hand, all I see is their hand. I'm not thinking, oh, maybe this person has the virus. That's more extroverted intuition. Being aware of all the possible things that could be infected by the virus. All the things that you potentially need to be aware, like, if you touch it, you need to wash your hands immediately afterwards. Thinking about that stuff just doesn't come naturally to me, because I'm only focused on what I can detect with my five senses. So my biggest asset in this case would be my TI, my introverted thinking, where I can take in all the information that I've heard about the coronavirus and reason through it. What are the logical steps that I should be taking in response to the coronavirus threat that's currently happening in my area? And really, I only started thinking about this after I started seeing various people on social media reacting to the virus in different ways. You had, on one side you have the people that are preparing for a zombie apocalypse, and on the other hand you have people just sharing these memes about how influenza kills 20 times as many people as the coronavirus so far. And that's where I step in with my introverted thinking, analyzing everything that I'm hearing and try to narrow it down to as close to the truth as I could determine given what I know so far. For example, comparing the coronavirus death count to the flu death count, that's not really a fair comparison because, flu's been around for ages. Different strands, show up every year, but doctors know how to handle the flu. Okay, there's the current strand of the flu. There's been vaccines for it for months. People in general know what the flu is, and in some cases, a lot of the flu deaths could have been prevented. People could become a little bit too relaxed about it. They say, oh, it's just the flu. Just stay home. Drink some liquids, and I'll be fine in a few days. They don't get the proper medical treatment, and then it just gets worse and they die. Whereas the coronavirus only began to spread in the US just a few weeks ago. And the scientific community still doesn't really know a whole lot about it. There's no vaccine for it yet. That nursing home where 7 people died so far, nobody knows how the coronavirus got there. Nobody's come forward and said, oh, hey, I got the coronavirus. Oh crap, I visited that nursing home last week. That hasn't happened. And so, no, we haven't been able to track, the transmission of the virus. Whatever, airline flew in from, China or Korea or Italy or, wherever it came from to that nursing home. What that's telling the medical community is it would seem that people can easily carry the virus without getting sick themselves. Now, in one sense, that's good news in that, if you're exposed to the virus, there's a good chance that you'll be fine. The bad news about that is, anyone can be a carrier of the virus and infect everyone around them. And anyone who happens to have a compromised immune system, that's the main reason the CDC and the medical authorities are telling people to take all these extra precautions, stay home if you can, make sure you're adequately washing your hands. It's all about managing the spread of the disease, way more so than just protecting yourself against it. So, it's not about the death count, it's just about the unknown factor. We've observed how this virus can spread and kill people despite taking the precautions that we know to take. So, this being extra cautious to prevent the spread of the virus, that makes sense to me. It's not just a bunch of type 6 SJs being all paranoid about it. Although a lot of them probably are. But I'm not worried about me personally getting the virus. For all I know, I could have it. I'm going to do my part, and wash my hands when I remember to do so, which is hopefully most of the time. I still forget. I'm like I said. I get SE, and I'm not seeing the virus around me, so I just have to try my best to be aware of things I'm touching. But that's just for the sake of ensuring that I don't participate in spreading the virus. The death count so far, 9 people in Washington State out of the 7.5 million people who live in the state. Percentage-wise, that's like, let's just say a lot of zeros to the right of the decimal point. So, that's the odds of me catching the disease. So, that's why I'm not worried about that. And as for all those ISFJs, ESFJs, INFPs, or whoever bought out all that toilet paper, I don't know. It never occurred to me to do such a thing, so I didn't. Luckily, I still had plenty of toilet paper at home. Of course, I'm still getting used to how fast toilet paper runs out after being married. But anyway, if I do run out of toilet paper and I still have trouble finding toilet paper at the store, I'm probably going to blame the SJs more than the coronavirus. That's pretty much the only reason I would regret not buying toilet paper when everyone else did. I think everyone else will have been fine if they hadn't done that. But who knows, are these people thinking ahead and being well prepared, or are they just fearing the worst? I don't really know how this introverted sensing, extroverted intuition really works. It's one of the ways I was able to figure out that I'm an ISTP. But either way, I'm not worried, because as an ISTP, I know that I'm fairly good at handling myself in an unexpected crisis. So, I'd say just be prepared as much as your natural tendency to prepare allows you to be, and that'll be best for you. Just don't panic. Or if you do, just don't do it around me. Whoever bought out. Trying to determine what. I don't know what I'm saying.